Hey there, movie fans. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the news that Tom Cruise has signed an exclusive deal with Warner Brothers. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it sounds like this could increase the chances of As of Tomorrow 2 happening, which was a great movie, and it's a movie you gotta check out if you haven't seen it. This movie that's been talked about we talked about for years. And it says here, according to the trade, Cruise has grown increasingly unhappy with the studio in recent years. And he's talking about Paramount. He went as far as to lawyer up in 2021 when he announced plans to give Top Gun Maverick a 24-day one in theaters. I remember that. Press was also being put on the act to give a seal of approval to Mission Impossible or days to sign the TV shows. Plus was given his love of theatrical experience was always unlikely. Cruise caused some positives too, though, specifically with the latest Mission Impossible movie, which under his boss have gone over budget. Said Dead Reckoning Part 1 is said to have lost almost 25 million dollars from the last summer. That's a great movie. I would say wish did better. Miss Possible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And obviously that movie went way over budget because of COVID too. But, it's a movie that they lost money on, Paramount. And it just sounds like him and Paramount, I guess, aren't really getting along that well anymore. So I can see why he's signing a deal with Warner Brothers right now. Tensions have gotten high between Tom and Paramount as it relates to Buzz and Conley's and what Inside explains. He doesn't send script pages, doesn't let them see dailies. He used to be very responsible for Buzz, and that changed on Dead Reckoning. It says here, back to Edge of Tomorrow, Warner Brothers is eager for Cruise to move forward with a sequel to the 2014 film. And that's the part that makes me really excited with this deal because this is a movie that's been in development for years, and I really would love to see a sequel to As of Tomorrow. It's a movie that should have done better. I know it had, like I said in my past videos, it had horrible marketing, and it was a modest at the box office. It didn't make a lot of money, but it's a movie that deserved to do so much better. And I know Emily Blunt has talked about wanting to do a sequel. I know Tom Cruise has. So hopefully this is what finally gets As of Tomorrow 2 going. So I hope the sequel it happens. Like I said, it was a movie, fantastic movie. Next thing I want to talk about is that Top Gun 3 has been announced. I love hearing this because I love the first Top Gun movie. I think Top Gun Maverick was one of those rare examples where the sequel was even better than the original because it's always hard to make a great sequel that's as good as the original or better. And I think that was one of the examples that did it great. And it had a story worth telling. So I just hope that they do a Top Gun 3. I really hope it's like Top Gun Maverick where they have a story worth telling. Because I always say, I've always kind of said this now, if you're going to bring back a popular franchise, then have a story worth telling with characters that you care about. You had a story worth telling in Maverick with these characters with Tom Cruise character Maverick from the first movie. So that's all I kind of ask for sequels when you bring back like popular franchises is that do you have a story worth telling with these characters again? So hopefully Top Gun Maverick 3 ends up being great like the first two movies and you know, I, the Top Gun Maverick, made 1.4 at the box office. I could definitely see this third movie making a lot of money too if it ends up being really good like Top Gun Maverick. So hopefully this ends up being a great sequel. The next thing I want to talk about is the news that Deadpool 3, at least reported saying that Deadpool 3 is going to be one of the movies that's going to have a trailer during the Super Bowl. I definitely believe this. Deadpool 3 is one of the most highly anticipated movies of next year. I mean, I've seen most YouTubers put that movie on their list of most anticipated movies. It's definitely one of mine. And if the movie ends up being really good or great, I can see it definitely making a billion. It all comes down to whether the quality of the movie is going to be there when it comes out. But I definitely think this will be one of the movies shown during the Super Bowl. So I'm definitely excited to see what footage is going to see, especially with the Deadpool franchise, because it always had like a really cool marketing with those movies where they always did some like really like innovative and extra stuff that cool stuff that you haven't seen other marketing like other studios when they market their movies. Like I feel like Deadpool always did something cool and different with how they market their movies. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what type of fun marketing they have with Deadpool 3. The next thing I want to talk about is that the lead actor from Five Nights at Freddy has says that the script for the sequel is being written. Now, I enjoyed the first Five Nights at Freddy movie. I didn't love it. I think it was great. I never played the game, so I know the people who play the games love that movie a lot more, and it made a lot of money. Obviously, it made over 200 on a very low budget. It had like I think a 70 or 80 openings, something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it opened good considering it was a movie released on a streaming service and theaters at the same time. So, and it's popular. The games are very popular. So I definitely understand them wanting to do a sequel. I just hope with the sequel it's better than the first movie because as somebody who's never played the games, like I said, I thought the first movie was okay, but there were some issues I had with it. So like I'll be interested to see a sequel. I'm not. It's not gonna be one of those movies where I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see a sequel to. Like it's not one of those movies. And if it ends up being just okay to sequel again, then I don't see myself seeing a third movie. But hopefully this ends up being an improvement over the first movie. Next thing I want to talk about is that Zack Snyder has said when has given kind of a release window for when the Rebel Moon all-rated cut is going to be coming out. I remember like I'm saying it's going to be like an Esther Al footage. He didn't say when it was coming out when he talked about it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really. My excitement has gone down for the Rebel Moon all-rated, especially when he says it's basically like it. I like the idea of it sounding like it's a different movie, but when he says like it has more like bizarre, weird stuff, and it's more violent, that doesn't really interest me that much because I'm like, I just want a cut that actually makes me care more about the characters and flushes out the story better. Like it being more bloody and like having more sets and weird ideas isn't really to me that doesn't really make me excited to see a cut of a movie. Like, but he did put out like kind of like a release window of when we're possibly going to see it. Not an exact date, but when. It says here, so yeah, it says as flying gives under when it really storm with but is it says he is coming this summer. So at some point this summer it's going to be released. It doesn't say what date that he's pointing out the all-rated cut, but it says it's coming this summer. Now, like I said, obviously my excitement for Weapon franchise isn't there anymore. I'll check out the all-rated cut, but I think Zack Snyder, in my opinion, has become like he's become one of those directors that I think he just doesn't know how to like. He's not good when it comes to storytelling at times in his movies. Especially when like I said, especially when he says like the idea of this cut is just to have more cess, more weird ideas, more bloody violence. And I hope when he says it's a different film, that means it's actually more in-depth story and characters. Like I'm a story and character person, so having cess scenes and like more bloody violence and weird ideas, which he does have a lot of times in his movies, just doesn't personally get me excited for a long cut of the movie. Get me more excited is if I actually care about the characters in this cut and the story is told better. But we'll see. So it's coming out this summer. Doesn't have a date. Hopefully, it ends up being a better cut than the theatrical cut that I saw. So that's all the movie news. Until next time, movie fans.